I think we're live.
I hope we're live.
Yeah, there we go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Brushfire Mind. It is Thursday morning. And I think you know what that means.
When this yeah, so much sack.
Nice screen share.
He attack. This why no more homo erotic rocket ranches. Got it? Got it. Oh jeez. So much wang.
All right, and we've already got Rod with us. Good morning, sunshine. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, Rod just hit me on Facebook. Dude.
Yeah.
And
So Easter Sunday. What?
yes, so that's our total win this week. Is the Donald is pushing for Easter Sunday. Now I wanna get out ahead of this a little bit. This funny thing has happened. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "It would be nice if we could have everything open on Easter Sunday. That'd be a beautiful thing. Easter's a beautiful thing." Okay, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not directly quoting, but he said it would be nice if we could have it done by Easter Sunday, have the country open and businesses, people going back to work, and people haven't been able to go to church for a couple of weeks now. By then it'll be over a month. It'd be nice if people could go back to church for Easter Sunday. And that turned into the press reporting that Trump has set a hard deadline. And it's funny. Let's take a look here. This is just the Bing search, right? Coronavirus. Trump sets Easter deadline to reopen country. That's from USA Today. But when you click on that link to open up the article, Trump says he hopes to lift coronavirus restrictions by Easter because it would be a beautiful time. Right? Trump says reopen by Easter. Corporate America says not so fast. Guys, what are you doing? Really? Why? Why can't you just, I don't know, have an honest thought?
Well, the answer to that's real simple. They understand, objectively speaking, the Trump response to this crisis has actually been pretty excellent. He closed travel with China really early, even while all this impeachment garbage was going on. And, if we get through this and less than 100,000 people out of a country of more than 300 million get infected and only a couple thousand die, it is sad for the people that got sick. It's sad for the people that died, but for the country at large, statistically speaking, it's hard to argue with those kind of numbers. So they don't want to give him a win. The only thing that can really sink Donald Trump at this point is Donald Trump. And one of the things that he's really leaning on is that we will have recovered a fair bit of the economy that we lost while everything was shut down. So if they can keep the markets panicked and keep us all scared and everything else, and suddenly 10 million extra people don't have jobs anymore come November, well, that Donald Trump, the orange man, is bad, and he screwed it all up. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's an interesting point here that Rod makes in the comments. He basically says Donald Trump is Batman. He's taken the heat so that Harvey Dent can continue to appear to be the White Knight. That's that's actually a pretty clever observation. Um,
oh, that was
Damn,
loud.
son.
I'm very sorry.
Is that your coffee pot?
That's my second pot of coffee. That's the problem. When you move it close enough to the desk to
Congratulations.
fill it up. Yes.
So, I mean, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, no, it's funny that you mentioned that specifically. There are actually people who have written entire essays where they actually see that level of subtext in The Dark Knight, where
Yes, I'm one of them.
where W was willing to be hated just so that we could kill terrorists. And so, um, but back to the whole thing about why can't they have an honest thought? Oh no, they're having honest thoughts. They're just not being honest with us about those thoughts. It's why they've started to cut away from the press conferences as soon as Trump speaks. And here's the thing with Trump and
Oh yeah,
anybody
I'm,
and
I'm
anybody
glad you
with a
brought
brain
that up.
anybody with a brain understands that Trump speaks off the cuff and he exaggerates to the positive things he likes and he exaggerates to the negative the things that he doesn't like. And this is fact, objectively speaking. But the other thing is you have to look at Trump's actions in conjunction with his words, because Trump has said several things over the course of his presidency, like, oh yeah, maybe we should have a clean DACA bill. And then there was not a clean DACA bill. There never was going to be. And Trump has said maybe we should take the guns first and do due process later. But there were no national red flag laws that got through. Trump understands how to really do pay attention to my right hand. The bunny is always in my left hand, and it's always been in my left hand. But pay attention to my right hand so that when it magically appears, you weren't paying attention to my left hand. So when Trump goes out in these press conferences and he tries to say positive, inspirational things, and when he snaps at reporters for asking him nasty questions and stuff like that, he's hyperbolic, but it doesn't mean he's wrong. And what happens is the American people see the president acting strong and tough and decisive during a crisis, and it inspires confidence. So they got to just wipe all that out, man. If the orange man ain't bad, demented Joe can't win the election. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the live briefings. I've enjoyed them. And before I do that, I want to pull something else up. The ratings on the ratings for Donald Trump's live briefings have been outrageous. He hit some ridiculous number, like it was either 12 or 18 million concurrent viewers. He's getting more, like, before he hit the top spike on it. I don't see the article quickly, but it's good enough. Before he hit the big spike on it, he had already overshot things like the season finale of The Bachelor. More people are watching Trump's daily live broadcast than just about anything else on television. It's People are paying attention. People are watching it. And every time he does one, the stock market rallies a little bit, except for, day before yesterday when it rallied, the highest rally, over 2,000 points in a single day, the highest stock market rally in history, on the expectation that our Congress was going to get their shit together and do something.
Rod makes a
I don't even
Rod
think
makes
they were going to do the right thing. We'll get to Rod's point in just a second. I don't even think they were necessarily going to do the right thing. I'm not entirely sanguine about even the most conservative version of this bailout bill. But now, in the face of suddenly Donald Trump's the coverage of Donald Trump is probably the single most responsible thing that a news broadcaster could do, because you're putting out information to the American people. If your reporters are not competent to deal with whether or not the Donald is putting out false information, the fact of the matter is there's no good claim that anything the Donald has put out in these live briefings has been false or incorrect and not been corrected when the information came to light. They talk about how, he said it's not as bad as the flu. Yes, everybody said it's not as bad as the flu. In fact, everybody who has said that the Donald is evil because he said it's not as bad as the flu said it's not as bad as the flu before he did. The only reason they even changed their tone was because they wanted to make him look bad. They only started saying it's worse than the flu when the Donald said it isn't. And before he made those claims, he had shut down travel to China. He had established the coronavirus task force.
But he hadn't declared a national emergency yet.
Right. But he took all the steps. He took all the steps that we really would have expected him to take, and all while the Democrats, the entire Democrat National Committee, and every elected Democrat in the country, and quite frankly, by a wide margin, nearly every Democrat voter, were focused exclusively on the impeachment. An impeachment which was never, that impeachment was one of the most, if not the most, politically irresponsible things ever done in America. And yes, I specifically said politically irresponsible. We've gotten into that before. I'll get into it again another time. That's not the focus right now. The most responsible by every metric thing that any news media could be doing right now is covering these broadcasts. He's getting more ratings than anything when he's doing these live broadcasts, which means that's good for your bottom line. That is the business responsible thing to do. It's the right thing to do for your advertisers. It's the right thing to do for your profit margins. It's the right thing to do for your overall bottom line. It's the right thing to do for the public relations and the image of your network. It's the right thing to do socially because you're getting the information out to the people. And if that information's wrong and you have competent reporters in there with him, then they can call him out, and they should. If he's wrong, they should call him out. The fact of the matter is, he's not. And we know that he's not wrong because the criticisms that he faces are criticisms of his character and the way he speaks. Just because you don't have your cheap knockoff Barry White. I mean, guys, Obama was a failure. Stop sucking his chocolate salty balls. That's not good fiber. Well, it's bad for you.
I mean, Rod really puts an excellent button on this and says they're going to stop carrying coronavirus task force meetings live because people watching can see the fake news being faked if they see the presser first. I mean, you and yes. I know you don't need but about 90 seconds worth of video to produce 15 seconds worth of edited video that can say whatever you want it to say.
Yeah, I can turn your wedding vows into a ransom note with the video editor. And the other piece of it, it's not just that they can see the fake news being faked in real time. Every time the Donald speaks, his ratings go up. Every time, he's the polar opposite of the Democrat candidates. You notice you're not hearing a lot out of Bernie and Biden right now because every time either of them gets in front of a camera, their ratings go down. Every time Donald gets in front of a camera, his ratings go up. And I mean totally. Like even among Democrats where he has the lowest possible approval ratings, his low approval ratings numbers are climbing amongst those voters. Right? He's about to break 30% or better.
Yeah, according to a segment from Tim Pool yesterday, he's cracked 25% with Democrats. Now, it doesn't mean 25% of Democrats are going to vote for him, but it does mean currently 25% of Democrats at least approve of the way he's handling the coronavirus. Because I think when you simplify things for people, and that's one of the great things about the way that Donald speaks. Yes, it's hyperbolic and can be frustrating, whatever, but you understand the point he's trying to make in very simple terms. And when folks have it in simple, relatively honest terms, they're capable of making up their own mind. And anybody with half a brain understands, okay, if this disease started in Asia, and so we restrict or totally lock down travel to Asia, gosh, that makes sense. How much more do we really want the president to do? Because he could do a whole bunch of things. He could start nationalizing industries. It'd be a terrible mistake, but he could. And he hasn't done that. Instead, he has done what businessmen do. He's identified the problem and tried to apply the correct solution that does the most good to the problem.
Oh yeah, keep talking about that for half a second.
I rather thought I was done, but thanks, buddy.
Sorry, you said something that got my noggin kicking, and
now you're out of focus on the other side of the room?
yeah, I'm out of focus on the other side of the room because I ran quickly over to the bookshelf because you mentioned the right solutions. This is a solid book, okay? This is a solid business book. Herman Cain, who should have been our first black president, and still could be if he ever wanted to run, because, like I told him on his radio show, there's no cream in his coffee.
I think he's past that point.
I think he is too. I love Herman Cain. He's a great guy. And a big dude, hugger. Big dude and a hugger. I called into his radio show one time right after he started his radio show, and I said, "Brother, I voted for you in the primary. I was all on board the Cain train, and I just wanted to see you get on stage with Barack Obama and say, 'Brother, there is no cream in my coffee. I will be America's first black president.'" And I thought Herman Cain was about to piss himself laughing on live radio. It made my day. So next time I saw him at a rally, he gave me a big hug. It was pretty fantastic. Anyway, you mentioned businessmen. That is the thing. That's what a business does. That's what a salesman does. Do you have a problem? Yes, you have a problem. You're going to die. And when you die, your family's going to be destitute because they won't have an income anymore. So, how do we make sure that problem is solved as efficiently as possible? Let's create the correct life insurance package for you. Oh, there's a problem? Here's a solution. That's what a businessman does. He identifies a problem and he generates a solution. I mean, frankly, the evidence generated by the Trump administration to date leads me to believe that no one should ever again vote for a president who has political experience of any sort.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. So,
I mean, ideally, we could replace the president with Zaphod Beeblebrox. Just, some random guy that doesn't want to do the job, doesn't even know he's running. The least. There you go.
It's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference there, ladies and gentlemen, because our nerd runs deep around here.
That's right. By the way, this is the 42nd year since the publication of the Hitchhiker's Guide, which is hilariously inauspicious. And to that I say, don't panic and remember your towel.
So just to bring it back home, total win for Donald Trump, because not only at some point in time we have to know when this is going to end, and even if that Easter date slides forward, backward, whatever, just the fact that, okay, this is what we're aiming for. In a perfect world, this is what our launch point would be, and there's several good reasons for that. Not the least of which is once we go beyond the 30-day point of staggering our economy, we start to run into whole new sets of problems that are even worse. You think our money's already funny. You just let this go on for 90 days. Oh, boy. But the optics of it, the way that I don't even think he's cynically taking advantage of the Easter holiday. I think for whatever reason, despite having no experience in politics, Donald Trump has a fantastic killer instinct for politics and understands, man, I can just line up all this serendipity just right, because we are still a country of people where millions of people go to church. Millions of people believe in the resurrection, and not just the physical resurrection itself, but what the resurrection means. The fact that with the right attitude, you can come back from anything. And it's very clever of him to capitalize on that, because he's forced the enemy left into the position of, well, if they want to fight him, they might as well go ahead and fight Jesus. And that's brilliant optics. And it's fantastic strategy. And we should be far enough along in all of this quarantine to where we have flattened the curve, as you've seen all of those celebrities talk about. Well, we'll know by then if the curve is flat or not.
Yeah.
But
did you just run out of steam?
No, I mean, that's what I got. I'm capable of talking for hours, but I don't know that our audience has the patience for that.
Well, it's really just Rod. He's relatively patient.
But that's all I got. Total win. Donald Trump, brilliant move. Reopen on Easter. I'm on board with it. I discussed it with my wife last night. She actually got a little misty talking about it, saying that Easter is one of her favorite holidays, and she'd love it if we could start to go back to normal at Easter. Because, guys, this doesn't have to happen all at once, right? We could just reopen tiny slices of things at a time and just make sure that the virus doesn't pop back up. We're not just going to suddenly dump all these people back out the Monday after Easter. But anyhow, that is all I got.
All right. And yeah, I'm done too. So I shot a couple of PSAs this week. I'll be editing those today and getting them out hopefully this evening or early tomorrow. At least a few of them out as fast as I can. And so look for those. Those will be airing primarily on our production house side. That's the East Atlanta Video. And if you're already subscribed here to Brushfire Mind, do us a favor and go subscribe to East Atlanta Video. I'll be perfectly frank with you. The content there is primarily commercial and marketing type content. It may not be your cup of tea if you're here for the politics and the comedy that we do on this show. But I would appreciate the subscribe. It just it's good for our numbers and increases our available production capacity. And Krista, thanks for checking in. I understand that your phone the speakers on your phone are inadequate. We look forward to seeing you on the replay, and please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Guys, we need the viewers. I would love for this to eventually become our profit margin instead of our commercial production house being that, so that we can start doing more and more like dramatic and comedic filmmaking with the conservative bent. And hey, tomorrow's Firearms Friday. We'll have you a good one, and we'll see you then. Y'all have a great day. Be safe inside. Because in Rockdale
Wash your
County,
hands. Wear a mask.
Wash your damn hands. Wash your damn hands. Wash your damn hands. And we will see you tomorrow morning.
So much wang.
So much wang.
I'd love to